Well, hello, A Taste of AZ podcast listeners. My name is Luke Irvin, and I'm here with a handful of the gentlemen behind the Beverly on Main. Where are we exactly? What is the Beverly? And would you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I'll start. My name is Joe. We're at Main Street in Goldwater, a lovely little nook here in Old Town Scottsdale. We're right by a bunch of art galleries, a beautiful stop on an art walk. Fantastic.
I'm Eric. I own the place with my friend Brian. He's not here today because he's better than us, I guess. So we're here at the Beverly.
I'm Chase. I work with Eric and Brian and kind of help out with all the marketing and stuff over here. We've been doing that for about a year now, so it's really fun.
And so this spot was a different concept owned by someone else before you guys. What was the name of that again?
So we purchased it. It was the Beverly.
Okay.
But it was a jazz club. Mm-hmm. So it was owned by the guys that have the VIG.
Yes.
And so it wasn't making money. They just weren't able to kind of figure out, Old Town. They're kind of the guys that go out into areas where there isn't anything, build something new. Mm-hmm. So then they draw all the people in. Old Town obviously has competition, so they couldn't quite figure it out. So before that, it was Mabel's on Main for a number of years, and very popular, kind of almost nightclub vibes back in the day. So that's kind of hence our Beverly on Main. We kind of a little throwback to Aaron May and his little venture with Mabel's. But yeah.
And so, are you an Arizona native?
I'm not. I'm actually from Michigan.
Okay.
Been here since 14. We bought the place in 16. And then, just chugging away.
And had you been visiting Arizona before and had exposure to the area, or did you just kind of jump in?
I did. I had exposure. I came out here a handful of times just to look at art galleries and stuff. I'm an artist, I guess, by trade. I went to school for art, but I don't really do much anymore. But so I came out, did some gallery searching, and I met Brian in 2012, and we were kind of started up some other businesses and stuff together in 2013. Then I tried to do the whole snowbird thing where I go to Michigan in the summer, stay in Michigan, and then stay in Arizona in the winter, and but then
so Brian is from Michigan as well.
Brian's actually native. Here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's native. He's from Central Phoenix.
How did you two meet?
We met on a survival trip.
Really?
Yeah, with this guy named Cody Lundeen. He was on a show called Dual Survival on Discovery Channel back in the day. And this was before he was famous. We took a class up in Prescott. So I took a class in 2011 with Brian's brother, and then became good friends with him, became friends with a few other of the guys. And it was more of it was a survival class in this respect that it was like, if the grid goes down, what happens? Mm-hmm. So I met these guys, thought they were really cool. And I was like, hey, we should all take his hard class next year. It's like a legit survival class,
okay.
So I was into like just getting this group. So because I knew people, I was like, I didn't want to go alone. And after I took the class, I thought it'd be really fun. So then Joel, who is Brian's brother, he talked Brian into taking the class the following year, 2012 there. So then we all got together, did that, and met, and it's been magic ever since.
And so how does that evolve into deciding to open a business together?
Yeah.
Or purchase a business together.
So we got really close, just in general, like the 10 of us that were on that trip, because you have very little food, very little, like, your food, you are allowed to take a quart-sized bag of trail mix for the week.
Wow.
And so they didn't give it to you for a few days, though. So you didn't know that, obviously. You just thought, I have this quart-sized bag for the full week.
With the idea of catching and foraging for your own food?
Exactly, trapping and all that stuff. And so, and same with water. We had 2 water bottles that we were able to take, 2 Nalgene's, and we're off to find water, trying to find stuff. And very little gear. We had a wool blanket. We had a 4x4 piece of cloth that we made into a backpack to carry our things. So it was to carry the blanket, to carry the water bottles. You had a knife. You were able to take one 55-gallon drum garbage bag. And then basically you had the clothes on you. You had one extra pair of underwear, I think it was, and then one extra like kind of a light sweater or coat type thing, because we did it in May, so and it was up like in between Prescott and Flagstaff, like so in May it still gets up in the 80s 90s, but then at night it's down. It was in the 30s one night like the one morning we wake up and our water bottles, it's just frozen. So
Wow.
that was pretty chilly.
And so you found out about this trip after you had made the trip to Arizona.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew about the place, and then and I didn't know about this place. It's funny. I actually have photos walking along the strip
Oh, really?
before I even like
Wow.
knew I was moving out here, and yeah, it's kind of interesting to be able to like see those, like, oh shit, I was like right next door.
Yeah. Well, it
you
sounds
know?
like it was very much happenstance that you kind
Yeah.
of came across
Yeah.
this here. But I want to go even further
Yeah.
back. So you grew up in Michigan then?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And what was that like? What was your family like? What were you doing out there?
Yeah. So I grew up in northern Michigan, point right here, northern Lower Peninsula.
Okay.
Not the Upper Peninsula.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's called Houghton Lake. A place called Houghton Lake, super tourist town. My folks were in the restaurant industry. They kind of had like a monopoly on the little tourist city I'm from.
Okay.
They had about 6 restaurants at one time, 5 usually. But yeah, they had everything from on either side of the lake. They had kind of a diner type restaurant where they served breakfast all day, kind of family style stuff. And then they had 24-hour buffet. They had a Italian joint. They had a Mexican joint. They had a fine dining establishment on the water.
Wow.
Kind of a little bit of everything mixed
Yeah.
in there. So I learned a lot from that. And then I worked there when, gosh, I was peeling carrots in the back when I was
Yep.
like 6. And then I was a dishwasher, and then I was a busser, and then I graduated, moved on to being a cook. And so I did a lot of line cook for probably 3/4 of the restaurants. I jumped around here and there. And then I tried to do serving, but then I broke my arm. And so I had to jump back to being a
Did
cook.
you break your arm serving?
I broke my arm wrestling.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was drunk at a high school party, and I beat the guy right-handed, and so, but he was left-handed, so I beat him right-handed,
Oh,
and we
no.
started going left-handed, and then some dude came like behind me. One of my friends came and go get him, Eric, and hit me right here, and then all you hear is just,
Jeez.
and my arm is just hanging there. I thought I just dislocated my shoulder, but it's not like I ever dislocated my shoulder before. I just assumed that was it because I was drunk and I was stupid. But I started hitting it and trying to get it back into place. That wasn't probably very
man.
smart. So
So while you're working
Yeah.
in your family restaurants, are you thinking to yourself, this is something I might want to do someday? Or are you just kind of rolling along with it?
yeah, definitely. Definitely it like when I went to art school and stuff for college, I always knew I didn't want a boss. So that's probably just because growing up in that environment, you kind of feel like a bigwig walking in there as a kid and into a restaurant that your parents own at midnight when you're drunk with your friends and you're going to that buffet and you're like, hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, let's go through the kitchen. Oh, cool. Oh, you just made cookies? Oh. And then big fat me was like, yeah, hot, fresh chocolate chip cookies. But I guess I always had it in the back of my head. I didn't think it would probably ever happen, but yeah, we Brian and I started chatting. We were doing some online stuff, and then we were like, hey, let's just dabble, let's look around, So Hot Chick was actually for sale. It was before this was Urbane Manor, for people that know that area over there. It was owned by Ryan Jock, who also owns Pretty Please, and he owns that building. He also owns that, but it wasn't his concept. He was renting it out. People forgot. They weren't making money. They just took off with a bunch of stuff, left most of the equipment, and so that deal didn't go through. We were kind of working out a deal to buy the business and all the equipment and fixtures, but the deal was taking longer than that they could afford paying rent. So it totally fell through. And so then Ryan was like, screw it, I'm just going to open my Hot Chick. So but then we stumbled upon this place, met with the big guys and, hashed out a deal and kind of figured it out.
And so obviously you had acquired much of the knowledge of what it takes to operate a restaurant, food and beverage business in general. But Was it totally different going into an ownership role for you?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot. It's a lot. We went through 3 managers. Like we're on our 3rd manager, 3 managers in 3 years. So it's definitely hard to find the right people, hard to kind of keep things to your standards, I guess, and walking in here and then seeing certain things like, oh, fuck, dang it. Stuff that most people probably won't even see, but it's shit that I'm like, why is there a cobweb here?
Yeah.
Or, freaking out, damn it, the doorstop's broken or whatever.
Sure.
Just random shit. But I think we have Luis, we have Joe here, who's the assistant general manager too. So we have some good people. Chase is my right hand, does
Nice.
make sure he follows up on everybody so I don't have to, and I don't have to take heart medication because I'm having palpitations and freaking the fuck out.
Well, Chase, I don't know if we ever got to introducing you because we went down a little bit of a pathway there, but who are you? What do you do here?
So I'm Chase Hernandez. I grew up in Tucson. I went to the U of A, and I actually met Eric and Brian through a mutual friend. Graduating during a pandemic pretty much sucks. You can't really get a job anywhere. I was looking at a job over in Austin, and then one of my good buddies was like, hey, I know some guys. They were looking for somebody that can kind of do a little bit of everything. I helped start like nonprofit skate park growing up and stuff like that. So I had a lot of knowledge about business and marketing and just how to kind of just take something and run with it. And so I ended up meeting with them, interviewed with them actually here in the secret room, and then been working with them ever since to kind of help them out with a couple other businesses and just oversee some stuff. Whenever they need help, I'm there.
So what did you graduate school for?
Communication.
Okay.
Yeah, and had a minor in PR and international business.
And did you have experience in food and beverage before or no?
Yeah, so I actually worked, shout out Texas Roadhouse in Marana. I actually worked there for about 7 years. And I started off as a busser and then was a server. Kind of did a little bit of everything, worked in the kitchen for a little bit. Yeah, it was really fun. I learned a lot about how a restaurant runs. And that was like really interesting to see how many little parts go into running an actual huge business.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it was really fun. Got me through college. So that was good.
So you guys purchased this place in 2016. How soon after that were you serving drinks?
Right away. It was still running. And so long story short, they were supposed to transition with their general manager was supposed to be kind of the transitional manager while our manager was being trained by their guy. But in the contract, it clearly states they were supposed to give us a month, and then they were supposed to cover his salary for that month. And everything was good until they stopped paying him after the deal closed. And then he freaked out. And then the guys, not to talk shit, but I'm going to talk shit.
Hopefully this is a PG-13 podcast.
Jimmy and Tucker didn't want to pay him, and they freaked out over the whatever, $1,500 or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then so we said we'd pay it. They didn't relay it or something, but he basically walked out on our opening night.
Oh, man.
So that was pretty crazy. He almost got in a fist fight with Brian.
Really?
He freaked out on Brian. He did not like us. So he stormed off, threw his champagne or threw our champagne at us and took off, almost got in a fist fight, like I said. And then, we just kind of had to wing it that night. And then he basically talked all his employees to walk out too. So we lost probably 3/4 of our staff. So we lost a lot of people that first week.
Wow.
So it's hard to try to recover.
Talk about the transition into ownership of a business. That's got to be a pretty frustrating, but also very stressful experience.
It was wild. And to top it off, I mean, that same day, like we closed, that night we were having the opening, like the launch party, kind of the relaunch party. And then, the power was out too because APS forgot to switch it, whatever it was. So there was a big thing there trying to get the power back on before we open, and then try to deal with all the ex-manager's shit and get new employees. Oh, it was was wild. It was definitely a fun little time. Both you guys probably didn't. I don't know if you knew about all that, but it was.
I've been told.
I know a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was kind of crazy time.
So, Joe, now that things are running, I would assume a little bit more smoothly than that opening
Oh,
night.
yeah.
What is a typical weekend night like here in Old Town at the Beverly?
Oh, it's great. Honestly, like our reservations are skyrocketing up, and we're loving it. It's definitely bit of we're having some growing pains, and that's normal. That's going to happen when you're like actively getting way more business, especially every single week. We're like jumping up, and it's getting great. Like people coming in having an awesome time. No one seems to be going crazy or anything, but they're just having a great time when they come out here, especially like bachelorette parties. We get a ton of like birthday parties, even bachelor parties. Sometimes we'll see the guys with the shirts on their faces on the shirt, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're celebrating!" It's a great time because we do a little bit of everything. So like we have classic cocktails that we focus on. We have our great signature list. We have a ton of like everywhere in between. So you start from like our happy hours nuts, like $8 drinks, and then it goes all the way up to like a $500 cocktail. So we're a little bit of everything in between.
And happy hour every single day, even on the weekends.
Oh, really?
Until 8 p.m.
4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
And
Yeah.
apparently, from what I'm hearing in the background, you guys have got lots of ice here.
So much ice.
I like ice.
Yeah, it's nice.
So, what do you think it is about the Beverly that makes it so attractive to people down here?
I think it's our concept and the fact that our branding is phenomenal. We do a lot of kind of funnier side of things. We, our drinks have some funny names and things like that. They all lead to innuendo. So we all like to be like, oh, even when like, older couples come in, they'll be like, oh, what does the AF mean? We're like, whatever you want it to.
And fun.
Yeah, and fun. And foamy for our like foamy cocktails. Yeah, I think that's what really attracts people is like anybody can come in here and it's casual. We don't like have that dress code where it's like, you have to wear a jacket or something, but you can still get like a fine experience out of it.
That
Kind
was
of
the-
attracting that vibe as well.
And that was the biggest thing too when we first walked in. Before we bought the place, we were scouting it out. Kind of checking out the servers and checking out how everything's run and just checking out their cocktail list. Right when you walk in, you saw there's a big plaque on the door that said "proper attire required." So that was the first thing that came off. It's like. You should just be able to walk into a place, have fun. I'm in gym clothes every fucking day, so why wouldn't I like let anyone else?
Sure.
So it's like, hey, yeah, just come in, have a drink. It's not like stodgy and pretentious. That was the biggest thing we noticed on their menus. It's like, I don't understand what this stuff is in this drink, and I'm afraid to ask because the servers all, and you don't want to act like you don't know. So you try something and you're just like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
What the hell is this? So that was the biggest thing. We just wanted a fun place. We wanted to be creative with the marketing and just really have people enjoy themselves in a very fun, cool atmosphere and not feel like, I have to dress up for this, or I can, but I don't have to. I can still have fun.
Well, and it seems like that playful, cheeky through line of the brand would also make it more approachable for people to ask, oh, what is this cocktail?
Exactly.
Or, feel like they don't need to come in dressed to the nines with some crazy suit. What are some of your guys' more popular cocktails?
Oh, as of right now, Two in the Pink. That's basically a porn star martini done as a sour. It's actually super delicious. It's a passion fruit sour. It's amazing. Blue Balls. That's a very popular one. It's traditionally like a blueberry caipirinha, but it's actually like more like a daiquiri because we don't like muddle the limes. Old fashions are huge here. We're pretty good at making sure that classic post-prohibition style is kind of kept. So we like to keep up on that. Sazeracs are ordered very often. So we have a lot of either just straight classics or some of the stuff that we've kind of created.
The MILF too.
The MILF, yeah. The
MILF
is
margarita. Yeah.
Margarita,
fantastic.
okay.
Yeah. Totally.
And so you sound like, you're very well versed in the bar side of things. Obviously, working here, one might expect that. But do you have like a background in cocktails and things like that?
I do. I come from a lot of like dive bars. I've done events. I've done weddings. I've done working in corporate situations. I've done that kind of thing. I did a lot of my own kind of research when it came to like cocktails, especially when I came here. It was very intimidating getting an interview and walking in and being like, wow, they have quite the selection. So I like took it upon myself to learn a bunch of that stuff. I went to my own kind of like just looked up YouTube videos and podcasts and things like that and just started learning about it. But I did have that background from like, bartending and managing and cooking and doing that kind of thing to kind of help me out in that.
Awesome. And so, part of the brand seemingly would be making it not only very approachable and fun, but to use the word Instagrammable, right? In this day and age is a little bit watered down, but I've seen you guys popping up a lot lately, and I figure that's by design on different food influencers and things like that. I think I heard you guys listening to a reel by AZ Foodie before we started recording. So on your side of things, Chase, what are you guys doing to kind of create those types of moments on, a digital scale, but also when people come in here and making them feel like it's something that they want to share?
Yeah, so it all comes down to, what is being presented to you. So, if we have an influencer coming in to post and they have a couple 100,000 followers, what our basis of it is if they post it, everybody else is going to expect that when they come in here.
Yeah.
So it's just following through on every little thing every single day. That way we do have the opportunity to have pretty big influencers come in like AZ Foodie, Eat Drink AZ, AZ Food Guy, all those guys come in and do a great job at getting our name out there. And so when people see that, they want to come in and get that experience. So, it's all about the experience at the end of the day, and that's what the brand is. So we've really been hammering getting our socials out there, making sure that people know who we are and what we do, and it seems to be working out pretty well.
Yeah, and it seems like, obviously in the past, call it year and a half, 2 years, influencers and their impact has increased dramatically for whatever reason it may be. Is that something that you guys have been doing since the very beginning, or was there kind of a moment where you crossed a threshold and you're like, maybe you had success with a specific attempt at it and you're like, oh, we need to do this more and more and more?
I think we try to branch out in our marketing in pretty much every detail. Like as you can see, like our coasters and stuff, we just really focus on details. And so we have, obviously we've been doing marketing in general for forever, but once that influencer type, marketing starts taking off, we really wanted to capitalize, I guess, on it and really get people in here, see what we have to offer, and show their audience what we have to offer, just to kind of tap into some person's market that might not necessarily know about this part of Scottsdale. They might always be on the other side of the road. They might be in Phoenix. Just really try to get in some other people to enjoy what we've created, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when did things really start feeling like they were just rolling? I don't know if smoothly is the best word, but when did it really feel like you guys were kind of getting dialed in? And what were some of the big changes that you guys made, if there were ones that come to mind that kind of really got that ball continuing to move forward?
Yeah, so it's all been, ever since we purchased the place, it's been kind of an uphill progression, I guess. We've seen it just kind of numbers climbing year after year. So 16 was where we thought it would be. It was basically what was where the other guys were. 17, because we got it halfway through, and then 17 it was even more, and then 18 is even more, and then 19 we were really just taking off and like, all right, things are finally popping, and then 20 it's like March hits, we're like, fuck yeah, spring training, this is awesome, and then COVID, and then we were closed for 4 months. And that really took a toll. That really was kind of terrible. But when we were able to reopen, so we are number 6 liquor license, which means we don't have to serve food. We're basically a nightclub like the people, like the other side of the road. But we have a great menu, obviously, vegan options and whatnot. So we had to close when they told us we had to close. We couldn't just, sit there and hope and try to change our business model.
Serve food depending on their license.
Exactly. A 12 is technically a restaurant. A 6 is technically a nightclub. So they made us close down. So that was really hard. But once we were able to reopen, it's like we never left.
Really?
Sales were basically just, it's like we started here and then we continue way up here. And we basically did 2019 numbers in 8 months, of 2020. So, and then 2021 here is by far the best ever. So it's still rocking. We haven't had a summer season yet, so it's kind of nice. It's like, all right, there's no slow time right now, so it's kind of sick.
Well, so you touched on your food menu a little bit. If you would kind of roll through what different types of dishes you offer. You mentioned vegan options.
Yeah, so I'm actually vegan. I've been vegan for about 10 years. So that was the
Wow.
first thing I wanted on the menu when we got the place.
Was that the case when you did the survival trip?
Yeah. So
Really?
I was sitting there eating cattails while everyone else
Really?
I was catching crawfish, crawdads for everyone else to eat, but I didn't eat them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I was just munching on cattails and just chewing on those. But yeah, and so I wanted to include that big time. Brian is into health as well, so he really wants some keto options and some other healthier options, besides what we currently offer. But we have kind of a large variety. I mean, we have great street tacos, we have burgers, we have filet, bacon wrap fillets.
And that's one of the keto options out
Yeah,
there?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So, and then salads and flatbreads, kind of a whole gamut, shareable type items that everyone can just kind of pick and nosh and enjoy our happy hour cocktails. And yeah, it's just we tried.
So was the food from the very beginning then?
Yes, food was there. So we did make quite a few changes, obviously, but lots of stuff that's still hung on because that's the one good thing that happened to us. The kitchen crew has been the kitchen crew for I think 3 or 4 owners.
Wow.
So these guys have been around forever and they don't want to leave. Like he literally, when I first met him, the head cook back there, he was just like, I want to die here. Like, I love it here. So amazing guys in the back. They really know what they're doing, really do what they do well. So
I'm curious, what are your guys' favorite cocktails or food items on your guys' menu? We can start over here with you, Chase.
So me personally, I love Moscow mules. Like anywhere I go, that's all I drink. But my favorite cocktail that we have here is probably the Blue Balls.
Okay.
It's really good. I love the filet bites. The vegan meatballs don't taste vegan whatsoever. That was one of the really cool things when I interviewed with them. They're like, oh, you got to try the vegan meatballs. And I was like, I've never eaten anything vegan. Like I grew up in a hunting family, like all that stuff. And so I tried it. I'm like, wow, these are actually delicious. And then so I tried the vegan wings next, and those are just as good.
Really?
And yeah, so all our food here is fantastic. I actually went through the entire menu the past couple months and had every single thing on the menu. And there wasn't really one thing that I didn't like, to be completely honest. So yeah.
And what about you?
I was gonna say Blue Balls, but he stole mine. So, but we had this drink called Micro Pinot. It was really good. That was delicious. I'm an old fashioned guy. I did stop drinking since April to kind of chill for a bit. I've had one too many patio nights where I'm passed out waiting for my Uber and wake up with the sun shining on me. So I thought I need to slow down a little. But yeah, old fashions here are amazing. Like they really know what they're doing with the old fashions.
For me, I love a classic Negroni. It's probably one of my favorite cocktails ever, and we just have fantastic liquor to make it. So on like the actual menu, the Puta Verde, that is such a delicious like cilantro kind of spicy drink. Phenomenal. Favorite food item, I'd have to say, is like the Beverly burger. The fact that we use like English muffins for the buns, traps all the grease, delicious. I'm a meat eater, so.
So what can people kind of expect when they come and visit here? Because I know you guys are very busy. I figure you take reservations, and then you also have a special room. Can that be booked out? How does it all work?
So the secret room itself is behind a bookcase. It's a private event space, mostly for like, birthdays or bachelorette parties, but it can be used for anything. It's a $1,000 build up too, so you don't have to like pay a deposit. What it is you just work your way up to $1,000.
Okay.
Once you hit that point, that room is yours.
Okay. And so how many people fit in the room there?
Comfortably 15 to 20.
Okay.
You could cram more.
Yeah, you can cram more,
Yeah.
and maybe sitting on laps. But.
Yeah, it definitely it's a good space for mingling, good space for parties. It's just got a cool vibe in there. You can see there's a one-way mirror where you can kind of see out. No one can see in. You're right behind the DJ, so on Fridays and Saturday nights you can kind of see all the other people, but no one can see you. It's just kind of a fun little space. I think that's what actually made us buy the place. We're like walking into that room thinking, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Super
cool.
I want to work here every day. I'm just gonna bring my computer and just like
See
that
what's
didn't
going
happen.
on
But
outside.
yeah,
You're just back
exactly.
there. It's like
Yeah.
12 on a Saturday night.
Exactly.
And everyone out here is having a damn good time.
Yeah,
You're just locked in on
exactly.
your
Just
computer.
all by myself, like nerding out. Like, oh.
Feels like a Great Gatsby thing, which kind of
Yeah.
fits with the theme here, that
Yeah.
you're just back there like overseeing the big party
Exactly.
taking place out here.
Yeah.
And then so reservations, right? Should people expect to make a reservation if they want to get a spot here on the weekend?
Yeah, I would definitely do it a week in advance because we tend to get pretty filled up, and by days like today, we'll be like, okay, we just don't have any more room.
Mm-hmm. And how should people go about making a reservation? Just call in or on your
Actually,
website?
if you just go online to Google, they set us up with a cool little reservation tool. All you do is just click it. It says the day, and you just put your time in, how many people you got, put your email, phone number so we can contact you. Very, very simple.
You can also go to beverlyonmain.com, and
Okay.
the little widget is right there in the bottom right-hand
Yeah.
corner as well.
And
Fantastic.
We also, you can order online if you
Yeah.
want to pick up food, if you want to just, order.
And what are you
different
guys'
things.
hours? You're open what days of the week?
We're open at 4 o'clock every day.
Okay.
At 4 p.m. And then we close Sunday through Thursday at midnight, and then Friday and Saturday at 2.
Awesome. Well, everyone listening, make sure to check out Beverly on Main on all social media platforms. Make a reservation, come in. Blue Balls seems like the resounding drink to go for first, and maybe some steak bites as well, some filet bites. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sitting down, each one of you.
Thanks
so
for having
much,
us.
man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
guys.